So this is me in post. Katrina, the lady writes, and friend and marketer for Inexhaustible Media. I'm excited to introduce an interview with Amanda Hogue, or AmandaPandaSensei. She is a skilled and talented writing streamer on Twitch. And if you haven't seen her streams, I hope you get to see it. This interview that follows is a great opportunity to get to know her a little bit better, and I am looking forward to sharing her awesomeness with you all. Enjoy what follows.
Autumn. And so I'm going to be so that's going to be exciting. I do a variety of I do like a variety stream. So we sometimes do games and sometimes writing or sometimes just chatting, but for the most part it's just like, having fun with the community.
And
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Mhm.
So, how long have you been writing?
Since for as long as I can remember, I've been like, coming up with stories and stuff. I first actively remember coming up with stories when I was like 6 or 7. I would like write down, like, little, I guess, like they weren't like, I didn't know the term fan fiction then, but I would like come up with fan fictions for different things that I was interested in. Um, like very big, elaborate crossovers and original characters and stuff like that. It was very, it was ridiculous, but it was fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Sounds like it would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to become an author and later a streamer?
Well, so those are two very different like parts of my life right now because so what inspired me to become like a writer, like an author, is just that I just always had a story to tell. I just really love stories, just like, making them, sharing them, reading them, and then not only reading, but like then like internalizing and dissecting them and all of the stuff, all the process that goes into it is just really fun and fascinating for me. But as far as streaming goes, I didn't originally start out streaming as a writing streamer. I originally started out playing games, and my image for streaming was to um, was to have a place for my students to do like additional English practice. But none of them really took me up on that. So, but we'll see, going forward. So I've sort of like leaned away from, the stream as like an English teaching thing, and then more as like just a place to enjoy time with other writers and people who are interested in similar things.
That's wonderful. And you said your streamiversary is coming up in the fall. How long? How many years is that?
It'll be my second year, so I'll have been streaming for 2 years. Yeah,
Very
feels
cool.
like it's, yeah. I can't believe it. But, mm,
Yeah, it's amazing how fast time flies.
yeah, it's yeah. I remember I was teaching at an English school when I started streaming, and I was talking about the channel with a student of mine. Um, and at the time, I was like streaming like pretty much every day after work, or sometimes like in the mornings or something, because I worked I worked late, and I think at the 2 or 3 month mark, I made affiliate, and I told this 11-year-old that, oh, I just made affiliate, and he's like, how did you make affiliate before I did? I'm like, well, because you only stream once a week, because that's like all you're allowed to do, um and I stream a lot more often now. So, but he was very surprised. It was just kind of funny.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
So, what's your favorite genre to write in?
So I really like fantasy. I've been I like to always have like a bit of fantasy, and no matter what I'm working on, you know, even if I'm like delving into other genres, like they always have like a bit of like an air of the fantastic. um I'm currently working on like a high fantasy sort of project, but I'm also working on a fanfic that is like more of the xianxia, which I know I didn't pronounce correctly, but it's a Chinese fantasy genre that takes place in like an ancient, like a sort of like imagined or real ancient version, like ancient Chinese history. Usually it's imagined because it has like fantasy elements, but sometimes there's like, well, yeah, I guess like if it's xianxia, it has to be fantasy. But yeah, sorry.
So good.
But yeah, so it's an imagined historical kind of period. I'm really inspired by the Modao Zushi books and the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. So I've been really having a lot of fun with that. Yeah.
What are some, well, you just listed a couple of your favorite books. What
Hmm.
what draws you to those books?
Well, I originally got into Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation because a friend of mine was like, "Hey, this is a really good series." And I'm like, "Okay, I trust your judgment." And I shouldn't have, because now I'm in a pit of suffering because these characters make me feel so many feelings, and I can't you know, I can't escape. So all I do is pull other people into the pit with me, because misery loves company. But it's a really great series. I'm also, let's see, I haven't been, let's see, what have I been reading lately? Um I just got Gideon the Ninth, so I'm gonna be starting that soon. I want to get into some, I've been getting into some Lovecraft. I've been like listening to audiobooks of Lovecraft and some other like old like horror classic type things. Um and I've been having a lot of fun with that. If you ask me like what my all-time favorite book was, it would be really difficult for me. I usually say like the Portrait of Dorian Gray, the picture of Dorian Gray, is one of my top favorites. It was really what opened my eyes to like queer literature as a genre. Because even when I was like first, I was like a baby gay back in high school, and I like could see the queer subtext and like the stuff, like all of that what that was written in by Oscar Wilde in Picture of Dorian Gray. And it sort of was like, oh, this can be in books, this can be, and you know, nowadays you won't get arrested for it in most places. So, you know, depending on, but so unlike poor Oscar Wilde, you know, you won't be arrested for it. So hopefully. But yeah, so that was always exciting for me. Like discovering that kind of like, oh, you can do this in books is always fun. It was really important for me as a writer, I think, to like be able to like challenge my own understanding of what was allowed in books or not. Yeah. So yeah.
I can certainly see where that would further benefit your creativity.
Hmm.
So, what are your hopes for your future as an author? What are your goals? What are your aspirations?
Well, I would like to finish a series that I've been working on. Well, I haven't like, I'm still in the planning stages of a book series. My um what I want my debut novel to be is part of the Misfits of Oslo Lona series, but I am like really in the weeds with a lot of research because I want to get um a more international perspective on some of like the world building aspects, and to do that right. And so I feel like with a lot of like young author writers, I feel like there's like a tendency to get it done fast and wrong rather than, really take one's time and explore different different things that'll be going into the book, and really consider, what people what people will take from it. Uh like for example, I want to include like there's a group of like people who are like nomadic peoples, but I'm not going to just like, I'm not like, even though they're not based on, and even though I'm not like consciously basing them on any one group that exists in our world, I think it would be irresponsible of me to not do research, and kind of presumptuous of me to like not try to research how such societies actually function in our world, because I feel like a lot of people will come in like with their preconceived notions, and instead of like, instead of like feeding my own, like instead of just giving people my own idea of what something is just from my own imagination, why not, learn more about real world peoples, and then, find a way to, respectfully weave a narrative that uh, that not only is logical, makes sense, but also, doesn't like cause offense, or like feed into stereotypes or something. So I think one of my I think like one thing that in the fandom community I'm in, I'm working on a story that takes place in ancient, like a fantasy ancient China. So it's not like any one particular historical period of China, but it's sort of like an amalgamation of different, it's like sort of like fantasy Europe in a lot of things. Like there's like, it's not one region in particular. It's not one like historical period in particular, but there's like, but even in the original book series, which was written by a Chinese author, like it's sort of like an imagined history. So but I have a beta reader who is also like a cultural consultant and an authenticity reader, who I feel has made the story so much better because I listen to them and not to my internalized stereotypes about the region and about like what makes sense to me as an outsider, because what makes sense to me is not going to automatically make sense to everyone else, and I'd rather broaden my horizons rather than just give the readers more of what I know and probably more of what they think. So,
I think that's great. That's a wonderful thing that I think a lot of authors should certainly aspire to. What are some of the
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what are some of the challenges you faced, especially as a new author and streamer?
Well, definitely I've always dealt with like feeling discouraged, feeling like I'm not, feeling like I need to stick to like progress has to be linear, it has to be plottable, it has to be it has to be marketable. And that's something that I'm still having to break away from, is just this idea of like the labor I produce is necessarily has to translate into financial, into something financial, into something that can be measured in dollars or yen. And I like and while I know that that's important, and that for like, for a lot of people, writing is a job, and there's like something sort of inextricable from that in the world we live in, I found that if I focus on what people will buy and what I can sell people, then that will murder my, sort of creative spirit. Um, because, um, I feel like the forces of, of market are, they don't necessarily breed innovation. You're not going, like, what you see when something gets popular is that you get a bunch of other things that, follow a trend. It's not like, and not to say everything that follows after something is big is a cash grab. Sometimes if something gets popular, then, a rising tide lifts all sails. And then so other things that were like ignored then suddenly can become popular. But I feel like there's a tendency to believe, at least from what I've been told, like there's a tendency to believe that like creativity has to be consumable. And that's not, and that's something that I've struggled with. It's just that mindset of, I have to make a consumable product, something that can be packaged, sold, and digested by consumers, not necessarily and like thinking that that's like the end goal of creativity is not something that I found helpful.
What are you finding are helpful or has been helpful for you to in addressing those concerns and challenges?
Well, I think that one thing is having like a friend group that will actually I found that I want to like, sort of gush about these stories and talk about things with people. So that's why I've like sort of turned to fandom, and like, because I get that like instant feedback of like of positivity and of like, oh, we want to hear the story. Um so I feel like, definitely external validation has been very helpful for me. I definitely am very uh I'm definitely the sort that like, goes out seeking, seeking like, affirmation from people I care about. Um, and let's see. But I think that like there's also a sense of like, um, I don't know, just enjoying the process itself as well. Like, because there are some times like when like creativity is like it feels so hard, but then sometimes when it's just the easiest thing, and it's like it all comes together in like a moment, and those are just like the moments that are really worth it, I think.
What's your favorite things about writing on Twitch?
But writing on Twitch, well, I do like being able to like answer questions and like talk with other writers. Um, I like being able to, encourage people. And I do like it when, when I get to read my work, or if someone has their work to for me to read out loud. I always find that really fun. Um, um, I think that like um I honestly like find it's a kind of helpful for me when people like ask me like interesting like in-depth questions about like what I'm working on, or like uh sometimes like I feel like conversations can really get people thinking about things, and I just find that really fun.
What advice would you have for an aspiring author or aspiring writing streamer?
Um well, uh I guess that even though like at first you're definitely gonna like run into a lot of like there's sort of a lot of disappointment at first, because like I've certainly started out with a lot of streams where there's like no one there. I still sometimes have streams where it's like, I don't time it right, or people just aren't available for a stream or something. And so it's just sort of a keep at it kind of thing, figure out what works for you, and figure out, I think for both of those, I think that, finding a process that works for you is going to be like more important than like following any like prescribed method. It's like, you've got to do what makes you feel comfortable and what's within your limits and what's within, your some people can stream every day or churn out 5,000 words a day, and that's not feasible for other people. So just, find the right, experiment with it, figure out what's right for you.
I think that's great advice.
Mm.
So where can people find you on social media or on the interwebs?
Okay, so you can find me at on Twitch at AmandaPandaSensei, and currently I'm not really. I'm looking to get in other places, but I will keep you all posted. For right now, I'm going to, once I start expanding things, I'll let the right team know, and so we can all sort of expand from there. But that's probably the best place to find me right now.
And for those who don't know, the Right Team is a streaming team of writers on Twitch, which Amanda, Panda, and myself, as the Lady Writes, are a part of. And we hope to see you visit us on Twitch. We've got a great team growing and developing, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for future projects in the near future, Amanda is working to get into the Warped Lens release, which is a Right Team anthology that will be out in September. And hopefully you guys will join us on this journey. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
It really is. I hope the rest of your evening.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Amanda is in Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. From this background, there's nothing to suggest that. Yeah.
Nope. All right, my friends, we will see you for the next interview. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.